Let me see here. I think we're live now. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really honored to have my guests on today. I had James Bartley on earlier, and when I have people like James Bartley and Penny Bradley on, that's like an amazing day for me because these people are people that I really look up to. I really look up to Penny for her testimony about the SSP. I really look up to Penny the fact that she's always able to, keep somewhat of a neutral perspective on things. She doesn't go too far sided into anything, and she kind of just searches for the truth. If you know Penny, she's an absolutely real truth seeker. You know what I mean? And she wants disclosure beyond the fact that she was in the secret space program. But I wrote a little bio for it. I wrote, tonight on the Typical Skeptic Podcast, we welcome back Penny Bradley, a legend in the disclosure arena, veteran of the secret space program, former Nacht Waffen Pilot, and outspoken truth bringer. Penny's life and testimony stretch far beyond the mainstream narrative, from training as a pilot in inter-planetary operations to navigating deep space freighters to time travel and trauma-based memory recoveries. In this episode, we go deep into the current state of disclosure, what's really happening behind the scenes of the SSP, the dark fleet, breakaway civilizations, and real timeline shifts you're not being told about. And with all that said, I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Penny, thanks so much for coming on, and thank you for working around my scheduling stuff. How are you?
I'm actually doing a lot better than I was for several months. So I found an herbal cocktail that is actually working for me. So yeah.
What is it? Because you know me, I have fatty liver. Is it anything? And guys, for YouTube purposes, we're not giving medical advice. I have to say that, but some people might want to look into it. Is it definitely worth looking into?
I have the worst mutation of the MTHFR gene. And I recently found out that all these years, I have not been making enough glutathione. And so I started taking that. It will only help you if you have this gene. So that's been a lot of my problem all along, is that I wasn't making enough of it. I was making enough that I didn't die, but I wasn't making enough to filter my blood properly. And it left me with, I'm in the stage in between fatty liver and cirrhosis. So my doctor actually told me to get my affairs in order. And when I told some of the guys in the community about this, they completely freaked out. And of course, they inundated me with advice. But my regular doctor sent me to this guy to do trigger point injections. The places that just will not stop hurting no matter what. And lo and behold, the man had actually studied the MTHFR gene, the entire mutation, everything about it. And he suggested I take the glutathione. So this is, he's a doctor, so this was actually a prescription, even though I bought it over the counter.
I got a recommendation for you. I don't know if you tried this yet, but Matthew Mornian turned me on to this, and honestly, Penny, it's changed my whole fatty liver around. Now I don't know if I have the MTHFR gene, and I know that I heard a lot of RH negatives have that, but regardless of who has the gene and who doesn't, this can really help people. What this is called TUDCA, TUDCA, and I took this stuff, Penny, and it totally took all my fatty liver pain away. Matthew Mornian, if you talk to him, he swears by it. And I don't know, they don't know exactly what it does, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I do talk to him. He's one of the people that I have consulted when I was having problems in the past.
Okay.
I reached a fork in the road, and I honestly didn't know which direction to go, so I consulted him.
Did you try the TUDCA? Because it can help. I mean,
I've got so many other things going. He did not recommend that to me, so this is the first I'm hearing of it. what I found were a set of herbals, moringa, milk thistle, dandelion root. What else is in the mix? Yellow dock, and there's a collection of about 10 herbs that some of them came in a mix and some of them didn't, and so I'm adjusting, and it's made a huge difference. That and the glutathione.
Yeah.
The last few interviews I did, up until the beginning of September, my skin was just turning yellow, and people were commenting privately, are you okay? You look bad. And you can see I'm pink today.
Yeah, I commented before the show. You look really good. You look like very healthy. You look vibrant, and like I'm happy to see you. You're in good shape. I mean, when I saw you at the conference, you seemed like you were in good shape too. But like I know how things can get. Things can go bad, and then they can get better. It's like a health like a seesaw. You know what I mean? Your health can be up one day and can be down the next day, right?
I was doing decently at the conference, and I had 4 murder attempts afterwards.
Wow.
And I kept being shot with dew while I was there. And when I gave my presentation, I literally had aluminum foil under my neck under my hair, around my neck, because I kept getting shot in the back of the neck. And the gals at the sign-in table, they actually literally brought me aluminum foil from their house to be able to protect the back of my neck while I was presenting.
Wow. Do you think that's because the back of the neck's an entry point? Like, do you think that, like I've heard entities try to enter at the back of the neck. Like, do you think there's something to that?
I had a spinal fusion, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? It was a deal. It was at the end of the time, it was while I was still on Global Enlightenment Radio Network. I was supposed to take 4 months off, and I wasn't allowed to. It was, you can talk, you can be here. Yeah, holding my head up, talking. Yeah. And
you made me smile.
So I have.
I didn't interrupt you. I was going to say you made me smile. I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you remember what Daryl was like. It was, you can talk, you can be on here, and I'm trying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to hold my head up, and I'm having, I think the first couple of them I was still wearing a neck brace on air, and so I've got metal in there. I've got a piece of titanium that's a square, and it's about this big, and it's got 6 screws in it that it's holding 3 vertebrae together. And that's what they were aiming for with the dew. So I was being targeted there. It's no longer safe for me to appear in public in person. So any conferences I'm going to be at from here on out are going to have to be via Zoom, because it's just not safe. I'm sure no producer wants me to drop dead at his conference. I mean, the last time somebody dropped dead at a conference, the police made everybody stay there for, what was it, 30 days?
Wow.
Yeah, so we don't want that happening. So speaking of, I'm going to be presenting at Bases in December next month. It's Miles Johnston's project, and he has agreed to let me come by Zoom. In fact, he's asked me to send him a pre-record in case something happens. So he has asked me to tell the people why they should listen to me. So it's going to be a little different than what I normally do, because I'm going to present my credentials. And I don't think I've actually done that all in one place. And I have an hour to do it. So, yeah, it'll be here and now credentials for my research and my program, my credentials from the programs, and a clip from where Doris verified me. And it's provable that Doris worked for the CIA, that she did what she said she did. So, speaking of, she's in a home, and Daryl is now out of jail and given a presidential pardon. And I don't know if he's managed to get her out of this home or not. But she's alive and well, and
Yeah, that's good. I didn't want to talk. Like, there was a delay, and I didn't want to talk over you. But what I wanted to say was, when I smiled earlier, you made me remind me of the Global Enlightenment Radio Network days. Me and you were on there together, and I didn't even hardly know you then, But and I just that was just a good time. There was it was. I don't know, but like I wish Daryl would do something, or somebody would do something like that again. Brian's supposed to. Brian's supposed to be putting a network together. I don't know.
Brian's supposed to be putting a network together. Miles has a network. Eric Hecker is trying to put a network together. He's a little pickier about who he has on. And that can kind of lead into the first link that I gave you, because Eric was featured in that one. You know how so many of us are targeted, and we're hit with DO, and we're hit with other things. They've graduated me from DO to scalar weapons. They're not any more fun.
Wow.
But yeah, those hurt, and yeah. But there was a documentary made about targeted individuals being hit with DO, and can you bring up the link for Cognitive Liberty?
Let me see.
That was the first one. He's featured in that, and he's someone I've had on my show. I don't know if you've had him on yours or not. But yeah.
Yeah, we got into an argument. Like, sorry. We kind of got me. Eric doesn't like me for some reason, but I don't have any problem with him. Like, we just don't get along for whatever reason. But I don't have any problems with him. I love the fact he's doing his thing for disclosure and everything. But like, we just, we're like oil and vinegar, I guess, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
he can be difficult. Yes. But one of the problems that he has is that everyone on his crew at South Pole Station has ended up with radiation sickness, and several of them have already died. So he feels he's on a clock, that he only has so much time. So he doesn't think he has time to be kind or polite.
Yeah.
So he's very motivated to get the information out. But if you've pulled up the link.
Wait, which one is it? Because I have one. There's one, Milk Bars TV status.
No. The first one I sent you, Cognitive Liberty. Or
let's see if I have
where I can share.
Yeah, if you can share, that'd be great, because I have them here, but like it's hard to. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up.
I don't see where I'm allowed to share.
Oh, you just go like this. You hit the computer. Like there's like a thing at the bottom of the screen. It's like a computer screen with a plus sign. You just hit that, and then you hit share. You got it. Yeah.
Share screen. Okay. That
And then what will happen is it'll pop up at the bottom, and I'll add it. There it goes. You got it. Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Hey, Christine Campbell, good to see you.
Cognitive liberty, mind control. And I wanted the link to be shared because I didn't think it would pop up. But it's on YouTube, and it's a new documentary about DO being used as part of the targeting program, and that it's being used as mind control. It's in addition to the V2K that we're all familiar with. So it's Havana syndrome applied to people that are already targeted with V2K. So let me. I will warn you that their graphics include a bunch of weird stuff that really bothers me. They're using graphics like this. And
what do you think that is? Do you think they're trying to, I don't know.
They're trying to make it look like it's, like this. They're trying to stress the pain of the people being targeted. But I have a really bad reaction to it. So I could not actually watch the video. I had to just listen to it. So I'm letting you know ahead of time that it does things like this, where it's meant to emphasize the pain of the person, I think, but it made it really, really, really hard to watch, at least for me. Some of the people in here, there's one of the graphics. And
Can I ask you a question, Penny? Does Eric Hecker feel like he's being targeted from what happened up there in what was it in Alaska? Is that what it was?
It was in Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica. Yeah.
So.
And he's being targeted, and like you said, members of his crew are already passed away. So it's very scary.
Members of the crew he served with have already died from the targeting. It's radiation sickness. Now, there was nothing down there officially that should have caused radiation sickness. But every one of them sick with radiation sickness. And now he's being hit with directed energy weapons on top of that, and V2K, and he's being targeted every time he goes to a conference. And even when he went on Dr. Greer's show, his big thing that was in Washington, D.C., they made sure he had only 3 minutes to give his entire testimony, because they did not want him talking about the weapons applications of the ice cube neutrino array, nor the fact that it had to have been powered by some sort of nuclear energy, because nuclear devices are not allowed in Antarctica under the treaties. So yeah, he's talking about some really major stuff. Now, so he's testified before the Senate. He's testified before Congress. He's gone to Dr. Greer. He's done a lot of. He was on the Sean Ryan show. He's done a lot of the major things that you're supposed to do. And he's really frustrated because they basically patted him on the head and said, "Good boy," and then go away. So, yeah. Which is, he got farther than I did. So, the next one I'm going to show you is okay. It's on weaponized. Are we up yet?
Right now, sorry. Yeah.
Weaponized. Weaponized is Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, and they sat down with Dr. James Lakatsky, the former Defense Intelligence Agency intelligence officer and shadowy architect behind the Pentagon's classified Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Applications Program, otherwise known as OSAP, and Kona Blue UFO programs. Okay, Lakatsky has been talking to just them. Okay, whatever you think of Corbell and Knapp, they got somebody important this time. Okay. Lakatsky went through the bells and whistles to be able to speak publicly without going to prison. He was told exactly what he could and could not say. But what's most important in this one is the man says we have a captured non-human intelligence UAP captured, and that it took them a while, but they got the doors open. And this is what he looks like.
So fabulous
and of
about
course,
these is that they're clear on the top, and then they
I had a phone call where a young lady and her partner, a male, who never said another word other than introducing himself, went through a checklist and said, what did I think of these people? Well, as a professional, what am I supposed to say? They're great or they're rotten? I just gave a generic answer. So now here's the thing that's very important. And I want to use that as a proper term. The public's, yours, George's, and my testimony is contained in the books. They are complete. I'll tell you in a moment how difficult that was to do, but they are complete. That's everything that I have been approved to say condensed into what will be 1,200 pages. So those books are Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, Inside the U.S. Government Covert UFO Program, Initial Revelations, the new book, New Insights, and the also approved future book, let's say at 4 months, 6 months, Future Visions. Now, that is a complete package. That's all I could ever say to the Congress, and they can read it and know.
So what's he saying, Penny? Like, what's he?
He is saying that he has written 3 books and that he's allowed to write up to 1,200 pages where he's talking about government covert UFO programs. And these are from the OSAP files that he was the head of. And here are the 3 books that he has so far. I understand there's a 4th one, and they're on Amazon. And you look up his name, James Lakatsky, and you can get straight from the horse's mouth.
Wow. Is it about the reverse engineering and the UFO crashes and stuff like that, I'm guessing?
Yes, it's about everything that OSAP covered, everything that the other program, Blue something, covered. that the government will allow him to talk about.
Going back to the Leonard
It's
Stringfield
not,
files. Sorry, I was just going to say real. Go ahead. Sorry, there's a
it's
delay.
not complete information because he was censored.
Yeah.
Okay? People need to understand he was told you can say this, you can't say that. So he's very careful, but he's done 2 interviews with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, and they're both on that. They're both on Jeremy Corbell's YouTube.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, I mentioned Michael Schratt because this guy reminds me of like what Michael Schratt does, where Michael Schratt references the Leonard Stringfield UFO crash cases. And when Michael Schratt presents his information, he says there's been hundreds of UFO crashes. So it's like,
There have been.
how that's like, what are people allowed to talk about and whatnot? Going back to full circle about this guy, it's like, do you think he knows that? I think more people should be in touch with Schratt, on the mainstream.
A lot of people, whistleblowers, people like me who talk, we go through a cycle where a lot of people will interview us. Like I have 3 shows this week.
Yeah.
And then I'll go 6 months that nobody wants to touch me because people on YouTube go nuts. Yeah, literally, because somebody got their ego all in an uproar because I was invited to something that they didn't think I should be, or because I said something at a conference that they weren't even at, but they saw the video and decided to get their panties in a bunch. This happens, okay? I'm on the autism spectrum. I don't watch my mouth particularly. I will say that I say what I mean in as direct a language as I know how. I do try to keep the vocabulary at around 6th grade level because that's where most people actually operate. So sometimes instead of using the proper jargon like other people are very proud of, I'm translating into what I call common speak, so that I can come up to somebody that doesn't know a damn thing about what I talk about, and I can make them understand. And I have worked hard at learning how to do this because otherwise I get the deer in the headlights and they don't hear a damn thing I say, and I'm wasting my breath. True? I mean, this last conference I spoke at, you saw.
You were on early though. You were the first person to speak. You know what I mean?
That was last year. This year I was the first person of the day, but I came on, and within 5 minutes I was looking into the audience and their eyes were glazed over. I continued to talk almost 2 hours. Before I was done, all I saw were mouths dropped open. Of course, that was because I tied altars to the Mothers of Darkness.
That was great.
That really disturbed a lot of people. They had not realized that SSP and SRA were that closely related.
It's really handled, right? It's,
The SSP people who run the show got their techniques from SRA.
MK Ultra, right? It would be like a hardcore MK Ultra or torture, right?
It was the stuff to make us mind fracture. The torture that they used to make us mind fracture, to create altars. They got that from the Mothers of Darkness.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you hear that noise?
No. Lou's in the kitchen and he's starting dinner.
Okay, I didn't know there's something to get a noise going off. It sounds like a ticker. You hear that?
No, I'm not
I don't know
hearing
what the
you.
hell that is.
Well, you're interviewing me. All sorts of things happen as a
I
regular.
know. I should know that by now, right?
Yes. I mean, have we ever had a normal conversation without?
I wonder why I'm having chest pains. I'm like, man, I wonder if they're hitting me with something. No, I'd be all right. I think it's probably indigestion because I had some, questionable food for dinner. And I have fatty liver. So I was just making a joke, And hey, I'm sorry if I'm talking over you at all. There's a delay, on StreamYard. And I hate that. It makes it look really unprofessional, but I'm not trying to talk over you or anything like that.
Okay. I've got a post of a short video. I hope you can hear it. No, I'm not going to play it because it's in Italian. But I'm going to share the screen so you can find the link on Twitter X. The man who shared it is James C. Fox, and he has the blue check mark, so he's okay. Have we got me up yet?
You're going right now. There we go.
Okay. For the first time in history, we have eyewitness testimony from head neurosurgeon Dr. Italo Venturelli at Regional Hospital, who claims to have had face-to-face communication with an alien in captivity in Varginha, Brazil.
Wow.
And they have subtitles here. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can see the subtitles. I'm going to turn off the sound because it's in Italian and you wouldn't be able to understand it anyway. I went to school in Sao Paulo for neurology. For neurology and neurosurgery. I have done more than 5,000 surgeries. I want to share this message that I really saw it. I went in to see a patient, and it was not a patient. It was really an alien, clearly an alien. Cranium shaped like a teardrop, eyes shaped like a teardrop. I went to see a patient thinking it was a human, and I saw there a magnificent being from a world unknown to me. I wondered if he was suffering. He was not. He was cognizant. He was very calm, very tranquil, like it understood what I was thinking entirely. It's nice to share this, to explain there are things out there beyond our imagination. To me, it was very important to see it because I saw the immensity of the universe. It's not just us here in such a wonderful world. And he goes on with that part of it. But that was from November 6th. If you want to look at the Twitter post, that's a real doctor, neurosurgeon, saying he had an ET in his hospital.
Wow, that's insane.
This is the state of disclosure right now. We've already heard today about targeted individuals being hit with dew, and it's being documented that in a real documentary. And Eric Heckert, who we all know, is in it. We saw a clip from an interview with the man who used to run ASA. Or OSAP. Yeah,
Awesome.
OSAP, talking about that they have a ship in possession and that they finally got the thing open. Yeah.
But I got a question about that.
Now we've got a man who is a neurosurgeon saying there was an ET in his hospital in Brazil. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your question?
You said that they just said that they just got the ship open. Do you think that's bullshit? Because like we all know about the SSP, you know very firsthand about the SSP because you were in it. And we know about the different factions of the SSP, those of us that are aware in the fringe, right? But like, you know, like they're saying they just got the door of the spaceship open. I mean, like, what the hell is that? You know?
What he's saying is the state of surface
level.
Surface level. He is the step above. Okay, you got your guys that go to Iraq and they fight the war. Okay? Completely standard military. They might see, a TR-3B. Okay, maybe. They might see a TR-3B. They might see a Tic Tac. Okay? Then you've got the level above them, the bosses, who know that there's other technology, they're just not privy to it. Okay? He's the level above them. SSP is the level above him. He doesn't know anything about us.
When I think you interviewed Kevin Day recently, which was, you said he was a part of the Nimitz. How did he react to you and your experiences? Like, did he have any opinion on what you know?
He had no idea who I
was. That's funny. Like, you know what I mean?
It was. We were talking about it and about what he experienced, and I talked about that when Colin Gillespie and Kevin Estrella and Lou was with us, so it wasn't just me with the guys. Lou was with us, and we were staying at Misha's house. This was what, 2019, somewhere around then. And we went out to Area 54 because Colin had approached, I'm blanking on his name, the guy that wrote about the tall whites.
Oh, Charles Hall.
Charles Hall, yes. Colin had approached Charles Hall, and we did not have permission to come meet him. But we went to his area hoping to maybe meet a tall white. We were very careful to learn the protocol that Charles Hall had put in his book, so that if we did meet one, we would be following the rules. And they went out there, the boys went out there the day before Lou and I got there, and they got photos of a Tic Tac ship on the side of the mountain.
Wow.
And I've shared them I did a clip compilation, but I knew that the Tic Tacs from the event that I'm blanking on his name again. The man
Charles.
No, the one that was on my show.
Oh, Kevin Day. Wasn't it Kevin Day?
I knew that the Tic Tac he encountered was human-made. He did not know that.
What gives you the sign that? Sorry, I just want to say I don't want to get your train off thought, but like, what do you think makes you think that it was like human, like just like instinct, or I mean, like intuition, or like, are you going off like, you know what I mean?
I followed that whole incident, and I did. Okay, during the time frame when nobody would have me on their show, I did clip compilation videos to support David Grush's testimony. And one of them was completely about the Nimitz encounter. And so I had gone through and done all of it. And in that video, I brought up Kevin Estrella's photos. And at that point was about the time that Congress was told that it was Grumman, Northrop Grumman had built them. Well, I had already been told privately that it was a different company. And then last month, I got this set of records that showed that there were 3 aerospace companies that are part of the I'm sorry, my brain's not wanting to work.
Jason in the chat, Lockheed. Was it Lockheed you were thinking of?
Lockheed was the second one, and that there was another company, Skunkworks, had put out these documents, and I shared the documents in the Civilization group, and so we're like, once I found 1 or 2 things, then I suddenly found a whole lot of documents about Americans building the ship. I don't know why I knew, but I have known all along that they were built in Utah.
Wow.
On the east side of Salt Lake City, opposite the lake. So I don't know how I knew, but I have known that. Now, I do want to tell people I'm not an oracle. 90% of what I talk about is straight out of my memories from space, and the other 10% is research that I do, and I will have documents or links for those. Once in a while, I will get something bleed through, like I knew they were built in Utah. And I can't prove it. I don't know where that information came from. It popped into my head, would not go away, and has turned out to be correct. So the tall whites have a base in what is called Area 54. Not Area 51, where Groom Lake is. Area 54. And this is an old map of Nevada that has the areas. And they have traded leaking technology to the U.S. Air Force in exchange for their base. And it's referred to as a bighorn sheep reserve. And that was where Charles Hall worked, on the Bighorn Sheep Reserve. That's how he got to know these people. And I use the term people loosely as the way we used it in Nacht Waffen. They have a vocabulary of 500 words. They can communicate their needs. They can defend their territory. They do not have to look like us. So that's how I use the term people. So, but yeah, that's how he knew those people, was he was working out there on the Bighorn Sheep Reserve. And most of their base is actually underground or tucked into the mountains there. It's a desert mountain area, and it's warm and really warm, hot in summer, and it's really, really cold in winter. And it's about 2.5 hours from Las Vegas.
I got a question. I don't know if I'm trying to think of the guy's name who told me this. He wrote a book called finding the cryptoterrestrials, not Mac Tony's. It was but he likes Mac Tony's research. His name's he's from Australia. Oh man, what is it? It's escaping me now. But I mean, the interesting thing that he told me, and I don't know if you'll find this interesting or crazy or what, but I mean, he told me that these tall whites, they'll use like a lot of our old stuff. Like like you said, you'll go into a tall white craft or a tall white base, and they'll have like a 70s shower curtain or a velour couch or something like that. You know what I mean? Like old shit that like humans threw away. He said the tall whites use. Now I know that's very trivial, but like, I find it interesting too. Do you think there's any truth to that, or do you think that's like?
I think there's truth to that, but I also think there's something else going on. They are trying to fit in with us, and they have time travel as part of their hyperspace. And because they're trying to fit in with us, they have a collection of things that we would use, but they don't understand fashion. So that's one of the ways you can tell someone is an ET in Las Vegas or San Francisco, is because they will mix things from different eras that don't necessarily match each other and definitely don't fit in now. There was a conference I was at in Las Vegas, and there were these two really tall men. They were approaching 7 feet tall, and they were older, had gray hair, both of them, and they were dressed like Korean War veterans. We are now at the stage where the old men should be Vietnam War veterans. And yes, they dressed very differently. And I'm looking at these guys, and one of them, well, I ended up trapped in a massage chair, and one of them sat down next to me and started chattering at me and asking me a bunch of questions. And he says, "You may find this hard to believe, but I used to work at Area 50."
Wow.
And I just sort of, really? Because I knew he was an ET. I knew he was a tall white, and so they're trying to fit in, but they don't understand fashion.
That's interesting. So do you think they have empathy? Do you think they have like emotions?
Yeah. Tall whites are blue-collar Anunnaki.
That's interesting.
We're related to them because all humans are half Anunnaki, at least. So yeah, they would any emotion we would have, they would have. If not, why not?
How do you think humans are comprised, Penny? Like, because I know you said we're related to them. So we have Anunnaki DNA, we have tall white DNA. Is it different races on Earth have different ET bloodline? Like, is that kind of how it is?
How it is they came, a bunch of them, a coalition of them came here. And we have the drawings. We know that it was a coalition. There were avians, there were canids, there were felines, there were reptilians, there were the Jahami, who we look like, and they all came here together, and they were doing whatever they were doing. Sitchin translates the tablets that they were mining for gold, which would explain why we have this gold lust. But at the same time, it's kind of irrelevant what they were doing, but what they needed somebody to do the work because the people who were doing the work rebelled. So they created humans out of Homo erectus. Now, in the tablets, it talks about 25 different varieties of humans. In our fossil record, we are finding 25 different varieties of hominids,
Wow.
all in overlapping time frames. Basically the same world that is described in The Lord of the Rings, where you have
Yeah.
lots of different kind of humans together. So that was what the world was like until about 40,000 years ago, when they finally made something smart enough to do the work and stupid enough to stop rebelling. And that was us.
And I got a question about that. Didn't they put a not a slave gene, but like an obey gene in us or something like that? I heard.
They must have, because when I interacted with the Anunnaki, and yes, they got mad and they abducted me, and I was in deep doo-doo. The hardest thing, it was like something inside me was compelling me to kneel before them. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done to not do that. So yeah, we are hardwired to obey. We are hardwired to worship them.
Wow.
Whatever they want, we will do it. Now there is the overseers, the RH negatives. Those were, when they finally got us perfected to be smart enough to do the work and stupid enough to not rebel, they decided they needed overseers who were smarter. So they had some of us interbreed with them. So they were, so we were half Anunnaki, half Homo erectus. And the overseers were 3/4 Anunnaki and 1/4 Homo erectus. And that's why they don't have the rhesus gene in their blood. And they were put in charge of us so that the Anunnaki didn't have to worry about us anymore. All they had to do was tell the overseers what they wanted done and make sure it got done.
Yeah.
That's why we have the... And then over time, the overseers also, just like the Anunnaki, thought that the Homo sapien women were pretty, and so they would marry them and have babies with them. So you ended up with this, you ended up with overseers, and you ended up with Homo sapiens. And in between, you had all of these where they had babies together. I call them hybrids. Depending on what their blood type is, whether the overseers took them as theirs or pushed them down to be slaves. Because there really wasn't a place in the plan for a middle class. Middle class has really only risen with the industrial age. Before that, you had a very tiny merchant class, you had a very tiny banker class, and everybody else was either overseer or slave. And that's been our reality for, since the Younger Dryas.
Yeah. It's I always joke around with people. I always say everybody thinks Earth women are hot, like all the aliens like Earth women too, right?
Well, at least the ones that look like us, or we look like.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the different versions had parts that were from other ETs. And when you start mixing together people who are from different places, you end up with different things. You have very light-skinned people, you have very dark-skinned people. You end up with different levels of intelligence. You end up with different blood types. You end up with different psionic abilities. I think at this point, 80% of the population is not capable of psionics, and so it scares the bejesus out of them.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor who figured out I was telepathic, and she won't have anything to do with me anymore.
Oh my God.
It scared her. I mean, you know, and the way things are going back towards fear and control and conservatism, people like me, especially people like me who've been open about it, are actually in danger. We're not far from witch trials. And I hope people wake up before they let it get that far.
I agree.
Now, I have some more stuff to show you.
Yeah, and thank you for that. That was amazing. That was it was really well said.
Share screen. Okay, the next two go together, so I'm going to be switching. This is also on Twitter X, 11th Star. Synchron, which is a military-industrial complex company, lands a $200 million contract to commercialize thought control technology. Company targets pivotal trials of brain-computer interface platform that allows control of digital devices using thought alone. And here's the picture she had with it. I'm assuming she's a she. And this is the article about it on Longevity Technology News. Synchron lands, here's and the author is Danny Sullivan, and it's published on November 6th. I told you it was all in the last 2 weeks.
That's insane. It seems like
Neurotech company Synchron today announced it has secured $200 million in Series D financing to accelerate the commercialization of its brain-computer interface platform, bringing its total funding raised to $345 million. In addition to supporting pivotal clinical trials, the company said the funding will be used to develop next-generation interfaces that aim to expand the scope of brain-computer communication. And Synchron develops minimally invasive BCIs, initially intended to restore communication and mobility for people with paralysis. Now, here's a nice, pretty picture of the implant. Now, remember what I spoke on in 2024 at Brian's conference about the N3 technology?
can you refresh us for the people that didn't get to, you know what I mean? Like that way.
Okay. They have it set up like N cubed, but it was they would give you an injection into your brain.
Oh my God.
And insert a chemical that would take over your neurons in your brain, and they were able to control your thoughts using light. And they were using this on American and NATO military personnel. They were using it on soldiers. And it was how they were able to link soldiers' minds to individual drones to control them in battle, and how they would combine an entire unit into a hive mind to work together in a battle. Yeah.
Wow.
And they called it next generation non-surgical neurotechnology. And this appears to be a medical version of this.
I got a question. Do you believe that this is already being used in the SSP?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think this came from the SSP? Like that?
Yeah,
This is like,
I do. In 1975, I was chipped in my brain with a chip behind my left ear, and that was what allowed me to fly the ship. So this technology is that old in
wow.
space. It may be older than that. I just know it was used on me in 75, so that's what I can testify to.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, you know, who else had implants was Renetta. If you remember Renetta, she died. You know, I know you know that, but I mean, like, I miss Renetta. You know, like she was a good friend of mine. You know, like I don't know, but she came on and she showed she had implants in her brain or something that looked. You know what I mean? It looked like sensors or something. And she was being targeted heavily up until the end. You know, it was. I really feel bad what happened to her.
Well,
You know?
Olivia James talks about Project Oblivion.
Yeah.
It's not just me that's targeted. It's not just Eric Hecker that's targeted. It's any of us who are actually making headway. Any of us that someone actually believes. First, we get attacked online. You witnessed that. You almost lost your channel over us.
I did lose my channel. I lost my first YouTube channel, you know, and I got monetized on my audio podcast. I'm now they correct, like I'm monetized on my new YouTube channel and I'm monetized on my audio podcast again, but it's going to take some time to build up. You know, it's like, I was bad. It's, you know what I mean? I'm not going to complain about it.
I'm just saying that it's not just me. It's not just Olivia. It's not just you. They're aiming at the entire community. Anybody that's considered credible. Yeah. Or in your case, because you give everybody a platform.
Yeah.
So they're wanting to shut us up. They're wanting to switch it to, I didn't want to have to go there. They want to switch it to New Age, airy-fairy, fluff bunny.
Yeah.
That's what they want to switch it to. And until they get rid of the people who are telling their experiences, they're not going to be able to switch it to that. Meanwhile, we're making progress. Next one. Share screen.
This is really fascinating. You always, you know, remember, I remember when you came on my show and you showed the patents, and you guys can see this. There's a show Penny did where she literally showed the patents for the TR3B and she showed patents for V2K. So you always come on here with evidence. You always come on with evidence, and thank you for that. Like, you know, I love the fact that you're evidence driven as well. You know, not a lot of people are.
This one, everybody knows who Tucker Carlson is, whether you believe him or not, whether you like him or not. We all know who he is. Okay. This is a
my
4-minute
personal belief
video.
based on a fair amount of evidence that
It's a
they're
minute.
not aliens.
It's
my personal belief based on a fair amount of evidence that they're not aliens. They've always been here. And I do think it's spiritual.
Can you articulate it?
The belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that. The Greek myths, Jesus, most famously. But that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadows floating around, specters, fog, that they're physical. Like they're as real as the arm of your chair, and that they reproduce with people. Again, Christianity believes that. Jesus. Immaculate conception. Spirit reproduces with human woman. That's what the story is.
Yeah, no, I was on February 20th, 2023. I was attacked in my bed by a spiritual being.
Physically mauled. In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon. And so I talked to a lot of people, and I was really shocked by what credible people told me.
The U.S. government has, in fact, had direct contact with these beings, whatever they are. I've already told you what I think they are, and has entered into some sort of agreement with them.
They could all be wrong. Of course, I can't prove it.
Yeah.
But I became completely satisfied, I'll say that they were not lying and that they were right or in the vicinity of right.
I care about this country and what happened to it after 1945. And it's a very clear demarcation line, and it seems obvious to me that nuclear weapons are demonic. There's no upside to them at all, and that anyone who claims otherwise is either ignorant or doing the bidding of the forces that created nuclear technology in the first place, which are not human forces, obviously.
These phenomena, which are clearly, obviously real. I mean, there's no debate about that. There's a lot of shit that people can't explain in the sky and underwater. We know that. Fact. So the debate is this government technology, is it from outer space, or is it some spiritual realm here?
I've never met a person who can isolate the moment where nuclear technology became known to man. And so where did it come from exactly? Oh, German scientists in the 30s. Really, when? Name the date. And I've never heard anybody do that. It's very clear to me that these are demonic.
And so people with this weird and destructive instinct, that's what it is. It's not a conspiracy, it's an instinct, have taken over all the levers of power. And I think it's like a spiritual force. That's my personal view. I can't prove it, but I really believe it.
Our leadership is the worst. Yeah, they're the worst. They're like the worst people I've ever met.
Okay. He's getting into more of the political side now. I wanted you to understand what he's sharing is exactly what half of the guys at the Pentagon believe. That they don't want to get involved with extraterrestrials or UAP because they think they're demons. Now, what I understood from my experience in the programs, and I've been saying this since 2016, okay? There are 4 basic forms that these things are taking. 1, physical beings that come through physical technology, and we call those extraterrestrials. Physical beings who come through not necessarily physical means. Those are also extraterrestrials. But what I'm talking about is when you use hyperspace drive, they can't track where you came from because you go interdimensional to do it. Okay? You're still a physical being, but you're coming through an interdimensional space, so there's no way to prove what you are. So those are the big ones that they're all confused about, is because you don't know what they are, where they came from, but they're in physical form when they get here. Then we've got real interdimensionals who come from another plane, who get here however they get here. They may be capable of producing a physical body, or they may not. And we call those interdimensionals. Then there are things that are made up of smokes, plasmas, mists, vapors. They may be able to form a physical body. You know, they're actually physical, they're just sort of spread out. And they may be able to form a concentrated body, but they can't hold it very long because it takes too much energy. And they just don't have it. Historically, we call those jinn or genies. And when you look at the depictions of them, they taper off at the bottom because they get the top right, but there's not enough energy to do the bottom too. Those, they call them plasmoids in the programs.
I had something I wanted to ask you about. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I had to ask you about this. I don't know if me and you talked about this before, but like, I had this when I was at the Full Disclosure Now conference this summer. For 6 months, Penny, I had this. I think I told you about this. I had what was like astral parasites, like, and it felt like astral snake. Like you couldn't see them at all, and I never saw a ghost, a demon, an alien, nothing. I would just feel like energy attached to me, and I had to learn how to fight it off. Like, I swear to God on my dad's grave, this was real. Like, it was a real, but like what I was saying was, I didn't know if that was government or if that was black magic or if it was the government using entities or like, you know, but it was definitely real, you know, like, so is that
real? The government can use them. It can be black magic and still be from the government. There were people at the conference who used black magic.
that's horrible that people are doing that. But yeah, sorry.
I tried to warn the producers, and they told me, deal with it. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be nasty. Yeah, it's been. There are people on this planet who don't want what's good for everybody. In magic circles, they're referred to as service to self. Everybody else refers to them as evil. In magic circles, the occult, there is this demarcation between service to self, which most people call evil, and service to others, which most people call good. But the goal is to walk down the middle path that even Jesus said to go down the straight and narrow and not veer to the right or the left. So that's the path you need to be on, is the middle pillar, the path in the middle. That's neither service to self nor necessarily so service to others that you're weird. But finding the path down the center where you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're taking care of your own business, you're not pushing yourself on others. It's in my practice, it's referred to as don't be polarized. So technically I'm polarized because I want the programs to switch to consenting adults instead of messing with children. So that means that part of my life, I'm definitely service to others. But yeah, I do work at not being polarized. Now, the thing I wanted people to understand about what Tucker was saying is this is the view that half the Pentagon has. This is why they don't want to release the information, is they think it's demons.
That's insane. I think that's actually, I don't think it is. Right? I mean, like, I don't know. Like, some people say that they think some of the grays are like demonic or something like that, but like, there's so much alien life out there. You know what I mean? Like, how could it be? How could you just class? That's a very Judeo-Christian point of view, right?
Yeah, it is. Now, how I see it is, yes, these things have all been here for basically as long or longer than we have. We have divided them up between angels and demons based on whether they do things for us. I think objectively, they're all the same thing. They're all interdimensionals. Some of them have physical bodies, some of them don't. Some of them are from our physical world, some of them are from other dimensional realities. That's how I see it. And I don't see any of them as necessarily good or evil. I see them as having their own agenda, and you better know what that is before you agree to do anything. with them. Because if you don't know what they want, you're going to be taken advantage of. So I put them all in the category of used car salesmen. And we have plenty of humans that are like that. I mean, come on. Politicians, used car salesmen, lawyers, doctors even. You know. So it should not be such a foreign concept as people freak out when I say it. So that was why that one was, because I wanted people to know that's out there. That's part of disclosure, is finding out why these people don't want to do it, more than they're kidnapping children for the Black Ops. The next three go together, and those are the last ones I've got. Again, we've got 11th Star on Twitter. Are we seeing it yet?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. 3S, systematic, systemic, and systems biology and toxicology. And this is from 2018. Explores phenomena such as nanoparticles crossing the blood-brain barrier, systemic inflammation triggered by nanoscale immune activation, organ-to-organ signaling. And they're calling, the National Institute of Health is calling it the Tissue Chip Program. And the National Institute of Health is working with DARPA and the FDA to create this thing. Current goals: integration, compound testing, validation, partnerships, adoptions of tech to the community. And the next two links are ResearchGate, where the PDFs for these are available for free download. I download from them all the time. I've never paid money. And the abstract of the first one, for people who don't know, an abstract is a paragraph or two at the beginning of an article where they talk about what the article covers. It's like a summary, and you get it at the beginning so you know whether you want to read it or not. When you're having to go through hundreds of these, it's nice to know at the beginning what it's about. Okay. A biological system is more than the sum of its parts. It accomplishes many functions through synergy. Deconstructing the system down to the molecular mechanism level necessitates the complement of reconstructing functions on all levels, i.e., for example, in our conceptualization of biology and its perturbations, our experimental models and computer modeling. It talks about toxicology, systemic toxicities. However, there is no relevant toxic insult or general disease that is not systemic. At least inflammation and repair are involved, require coordinated signaling mechanisms across the organism. So it's talking about going through and creating multi-organ on chip and microphysiological systems, and they're talking about changing how the system deals with toxics, changing on an organism level without using substitute organisms, and it's to challenge disease models, especially micropathological ones. And there's pictures here. Oh, goody.
What the hell are they doing? It's crazy. Again, this would be something again that they're using the SSP or technology they got from the SSP, right?
Yes, this is technology they got from the SSP, where they basically turn our entire body into a chip type of thing. So this is the first of the pictures, and says figure 3. And this is what they're trying to do, is test it. And so this one is the 3S. And I'm going to move to the next one. Brain-computer interfaces, U.S. tactical military applications and implications. And this is from June 2020. And this also is part of the N3 that I talked about in 2024. And the authors are Timothy Marler of Aerospace Corporation, Annika Locke-Benedict, and I'm sure I butchered that, from Rand Corporation, and Ellie Bartels. So, and this was uploaded by R. Timothy Marler. And I'm not seeing an abstract. I'm seeing, I'm seeing the file, which is also, you can download the full thing. And this is basically a book uploaded. Yeah. So I gave you the links for all of those.
Hey, Penny, John Whitberg's in the audience, and thanks for watching, John. I'm a big fan of John's, of John. He says, hey, Rob, can you ask Penny to show the Watchtower building real world spot he said I found for her?
Okay, give me a minute. I got to find it. Okay. Yeah, he did find it for me. I was very pleased.
What is it?
It's where the jump gate on Long Island is.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, he found it for me. So.
But if you can't find it, it's no big,
Oh, yeah, I found it. It just took me a little bit to get there. Okay, share screen. You see it? The Watchtower building? When I was there, it didn't have Watchtower on the top. It didn't have this. It didn't have all of these things. It was just basically these two here. The rest has all been added since then. But you come in the front door, and in the elevators, one of them is the jump gate. And let me see. Which direction did it go? That one, I think. Whoops. I'm going to have to. There it is. Okay. Okay, this is how it looks today. And what I remembered was this here under that bridge. That was what I remembered as being a child. I was 9 years old when I went there.
Cat L in the chat says the one in Brooklyn. Is this in Brooklyn, New York?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is where the New York jump gate is. And I described it as being under a bridge on the river, and that it was this beige color, and it wasn't like the Empire State Building, but it was big enough it had to have an elevator. And John found it based on that. So, yeah.
That's insane. So were you a Montauk? Were you a Montauk as well?
Yes. I was at Montauk. I remember being at Montauk fall 1961 through spring of 1962. That was a different program. Now, I do not remember being part of Project Phoenix, which is the one that was later on. However, the guys remember me being the secretary. And I can pick them out of a lineup. So I think they're right. I think they're correct that I was there. But all of these things came up public in the last 2 weeks. This is the current state of disclosure. Not all the bullshit that everybody's coming up with to distract.
This was a great show. It shows where we're at, you know. I mean, where do you think, you know, where do you think we'll ever see full disclosure? Or do you think we're coming to that? Like,
I do not believe that the Pentagon nor the CIA wish there to be full disclosure. I think that if there is, it will be against their wishes, with them kicking and screaming the entire way, because they have committed capital crimes. Seriously.
yeah.
They have been kidnapping children. Okay, I was 4 years old in 1959, and I'm not even the first generation. I mean, how old was Misha when she was kidnapped?
Yeah.
Okay, she was kidnapped for Monarch. I was kidnapped for, it was Project Rainbow, which was the time travel navigation combination. And the mind fracture program was so intense, only 2% of us survived. So they killed 98% of the kids they kidnapped. And they've been kidnapping kids since at least 1959 when they did it to me. People keep telling me, oh, they don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. But I get phone calls from people telling me that their 4-year-old refuses to go back to sleep because he doesn't want to go into space anymore.
It's like a galactic slave trade, huh? Like it's like, you know, like for some people who will come back.
That's exactly what it is a galactic slave trade. And that's what I keep trying to say. It's part of the human trafficking problem. Okay? It's part of the entire human trafficking problem. Human trafficking is the biggest industry on this planet. It's followed by drugs and oil and warfare. But human trafficking is the biggest. They test us they test the kids when they first take them. Those who have the genetics to be able to survive going into space get put in the SSP. Those that don't become slaves. If they're pretty, they go into the sex trade. If they're not, they're used for adrenochrome.
Wow. It's someone just said it's despicable, and it really is. You're right, Melly. It is despicable. It's you know, like and a lot of people don't make it back. You know, a lot of people like Tony Rodriguez, for example, was lucky. He wasn't lucky in the fact that he was a slave. You know, but he was lucky that he made it back. You know, some people do not make it back. Like he made it back. Yeah, sorry.
If that Tom guy that had been his owner in Seattle had lived longer, he probably would not have made it back.
Wow.
And that's the honest truth.
I heard that DNA is a big commodity out in space too. Like that, you know, that DNA is a big, like, you know, is that true?
I don't know. I didn't encounter that part. I do know that mated couples, especially if the female's pregnant, that they go for a much higher price because they've proven they can reproduce. And yes, there are ET species that purchase mated couples in order to enslave an entire group of people. Yeah, they do that.
Would this be like reptilians or?
It's not just reptilians.
Yeah.
Reptilians are part of the mix, but they're not the only part of the mix. That's what everybody here keeps losing sight of. They want everything to be the Pleiadians are the good guys, the reptilians are the bad guys, and nothing else matters. That's a very 2-year-old approach to life.
Yeah. Well, I've heard a lot of surgeons where some Nordics are bad, and like, you know, there's good mantids and bad. I guess they're just like humans, right? They're like, they have personalities.
There are some species that are hive minds, and they're not individuals. But most species are like humans. There's good and bad in everybody. And for it to be set up where you think that the Pleiadians are good guys because they look like us, and the reptilians are bad guys because they look like lizards, when the truth of the matter is the Anunnaki who created us demanded the firstborn. Anything that opened the womb, they took and they ate it.
Oh, God.
They weren't enslaving them, they were eating them. And that went on for millennia. But people want to worship them and hate the Draco, who did the same thing.
Did the Anunnaki mix with the Draco? Like, I've heard some people say that Enki is half reptilian or something, I don't know.
That's in the Sumerian tablets, yes. But if you ask some people, Michael Lee Hill, for for one, he says that Enki's mother was Pleiadian. Now, I do know that this part of space is in smack dab in the middle of the Draco Empire. And if you get a local king who's being a rebellious shithead, they will send a princess to come tame him, because their sex hormones override almost every male brain.
So it's like an Anunnaki honeypot.
Yeah. If his mother was reptilian, like the tablets say, then it was because his dad was being a rebellious shithead and she was sent to tame him.
Wow.
And because the Draco live a lot longer than the Anunnaki do, it was a short-term gig for her.
So it just shows me that, like, sex controls the world, and also that women aren't treated right out in space either. Like they weren't treated right here for a long time, and still aren't treated right.
What I have seen is the male-female balance tends to be balanced in the direction of males generally. It's not among the Draco, because their females are venomous, and because they have certain things in their genitalia that kind of shifted things. I don't know how graphic you want me to get.
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I've never heard about Draco genitalia. I mean, you know what I mean?
Their adult females have teeth down there.
What? That's crazy.
And whether they bite or not is up to the female.
Holy shit.
If they find a male who's being a shithead, if they find a male who's a pedophile, he ends up bleeding to death.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that's why the females are in charge among the Draco. They won their sex war.
Yeah.
That way.
Here's Susan Long on Rumble. Thanks for watching on Rumble, Susan. She says, "Yep, I was kidnapped as a mated pair by insectoids."
Oh.
So it does happen, guys. It's and there's people out there.
I'm not making any of this up.
No. I wasn't saying you were. I was just kind of adding credence to your testimony. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Thank you, Susan, for backing me up. Yeah, this is all fact, and usually people don't want to hear all this stuff. They freak out the first 10 minutes, and I don't ever get to talk about things like this. So,
well, my audience is pretty. They're pretty like I don't know. I'd say they're pretty advanced. You know what I mean? They're all with this stuff. They're all adding stuff in the comments and stuff. And like Jerry Lahane says. This is funny. He just says, "Avoid Draco women." Whistling in dark. He says, "What does that mean?" I don't get it. What's he mean?
He says he doesn't want to be bit.
Okay, yeah. Melly says sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
And Miss Loiselle says it's a lot to hear.
Yeah. It is a lot to hear. Trust me, it's a lot to be swimming around in my brain.
Yeah. It's fascinating though, and we have 66 people watching and 6 likes. So it was at 666 for a second. That kind of freaked me out. That's and that doesn't count. We're at a lot of people watching on Rumble too, but I mean, no, I honestly, Benny, I'm not saying this to kiss your butt or anything like that, but like, I really respect you for what you've done in this community. And like I said, I love the fact that you always come from like somewhat of a neutral perspective. Like, you don't go too hard on Trump, but you don't go too for him. You don't go, you know what I mean? You're pretty well set in like your ET ways, because you know a lot about the extraterrestrials, but like when it comes to like geopolitics and stuff, you have like a really neutral point of view, it seems like, where you just point out the truth, like, and I really like that.
I'm glad you appreciate that. When I did my family tree in 2005, it took me a while to make some connections. But when I matched up with that I was descended from Robert the Bruce, King of Scotland, I was contacted by this then 18-year-old kid who was going to Yale. And he said, "Penny, you're smart, but you obviously went to public school. Would you like to learn what you missed?" How could I say no to that?
Yeah, I know, right?
So, 15 years later, because I'm Rh positive, I had been catching a lot of grief from his friends and family. And he went on his Facebook wall and he told them that I was family, that I was more loyal than most of them, and that he was no longer going to tolerate me being abused. And it stopped on a dime. And
Wow.
He gave me a bunch of documents from a now deleted website, and he's asked me to make them public because the website they were on was deleted. And so I've been uploading them to my Substack. And that's where those documents came from, is the family. And some of them have been quite disturbing to me. Some of them have been really disturbing. But yeah, I see why he wanted them uploaded. And that's the only thing he's ever asked of me, was to upload these things. So that's how I have paid for 15 years of private tutoring, was uploading these files.
That's awesome that you got that kind of tutoring, that like you got an education from a Yale student, that's amazing.
I'm going to be very careful about how I word this. He's from one of the families that runs the world. And the tutoring showed me how completely controlled everything is. Everything. And has been since before Rome. It's all controlled. Everything. There is no escaping the system. That by the time we are allowed to even know someone is running, no, he's not a Rothschild. You may find this hard to believe, but the Rothschilds have bosses, and he's one of them. By the time we even know someone's thinking about running, they've already been approved of. They decide 2 election cycles in advance who's going to win. So voting, getting upset about some candidate is an exercise in futility. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money.
So they're all controlled, as you're saying. It doesn't matter who it is. It's always going to be controlled.
It's always going to be controlled. It's always going to be, you can vote, you can be upset, you can fight amongst yourselves, but it's going to be what it's going to be.
Do
Now,
you think there's any way we ever overturn that and get sovereignty or freedom, like real freedom?
No, I don't. The last time people approached real freedom was the French Revolution. And the first thing they did was they got themselves Robespierre. And he ruled them like a king. Because they did not know how to handle being in a country among other countries without having someone in charge.
Yeah. You know what?
Once you have that someone in charge, you're at their mercy. And some of these people have none. They have no mercy whatsoever. I mean, look at Bill Gates. He gets gleeful thinking about all the people he's going to kill with the next mRNA.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
it's actually sickening.
Yeah, some of these people have no concept of compassion, or that we're even the same species that they are. And they're in total control. I mean, how else would we have ended up with the air's poisoned, the water's poisoned, the food's poisoned, the cropland is so stripped of nutrients that it might as well be dead. You know, all of our medication is either based on fluoride or reptile venom. You know, that's where we are. And how did we get this way?
It's actually insane, right? It's like we got to a point where it's like we have no control whatsoever, you know? I mean,
we could if we ever joined together and told them to fuck off. But, you know, they have weapons.
Yeah.
And in most of the world, the public doesn't. That's why they keep having these school shootings, is they want to take our weapons away in the United States. And the shooters are all MK Ultra, and they're inundated with V2K. Now, it's not an accident. None of this is an accident. It's part of the plan. But when I talk about this, people are like, well, you know, you're supposed to be talking about ascension. Well, ascension is a pipe dream. Ascension is something to make you consent to your death. Ascension symptoms are radiation poisoning. It's from the Wi-Fi. It's from the electrical cables. It's from all of the devices you have in your house, and you're constantly being bathed with Wi-Fi radiation. You know, just because it's labeled Wi-Fi, or it doesn't make it safe.
Yeah.
And people, I can talk till I'm blue in the face, and they can't hear me because they have it in their heads that this stuff's safe, and it's not. They have it in their heads that the doctor has their best interests at heart. No, he has his wallet and bank account at heart.
Yeah.
You know, there is no politician that actually cares about poor people. Poor people can't give him money. Yeah, we could vote, but voting really doesn't matter, so they don't care. I mean, right now you're watching the conservatives are trying to dismantle the safety net, and the liberals are trying to stop them, but neither side is really trying very hard, and they're just making people miserable, and they seem to be getting off on it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I have people on my social media that I'm ending up blocking because they're going on meltdowns where that they basically say they wish anybody that's on Snap would just die.
That's not right. You know, some people need that. You know what I mean? Some people rely on that. You know, it's not. I don't. You know, I don't think. I don't.
All of the things that the government spends money on. I mean, money, big money. Out of all of the things that the government spends money on, Social Security, Medicaid, SNAP, those are actually helping people. Everything else that the government spends money on is hurting people.
Yeah, exactly.
And people are jealous because somebody can buy groceries. You know, come on. If you're poor enough to begrudge somebody having a basket of food, why don't you go down to the welfare office and find out how hard it is to actually get it?
Yeah, and like I know you know this, Penny. It's not easy being a content creator. Like I was almost like, you know, I had some back money recently because I did well on my audio podcast, but then I kind of blew through that, and then like, you know, I was like almost dead broke today. Shout out to my friend Jimmy. He's from my Pittsburgh UFO group. He came by and he dropped me off a $100 bill. I was like, man, that was really nice of him. So everybody go check out Dark Jimmy, his website. He takes pictures of astral entities and stuff like that. But no, so it's, you know, it's not easy being a content creator either. And I know you're in the same position as you know, you don't have it easy either. Like, you know, like it's not.
I'm retired due to disability. I get a check. It's not a big check, but I made sure that no matter what I did with my podcast, I live on that check.
Yeah.
Everything donated to me goes for keeping the podcast open. It does not go to my bills because I don't want to be dependent on it if it all drops tomorrow. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched Disclosure cycle through twice with you get big, you start depending on the monetization. Some people were paying their rent or their mortgage with it.
Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly YouTube cut them off.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what happened to me with my audio podcast. Like my audio podcast was booming and they pulled the rug out from under me. They took me back now, but like they definitely, someone said to me the other day, it's like almost like they set us up for failure. It's like it's like they like to set us up for failure, you know?
If you depend on that income, they're setting you up for failure. If you're not, you can just say, it's been a good ride. Goodbye.
Yeah. So always be multifaceted, like have different sources of income coming in.
Yes, because Project Oblivion is going to try to shut us down. And they will let us get big, see who's involved, and then they will shut us down and attack everybody.
Yeah. Shout out to Olivia James. I think she's in the audience right now. I thought I saw her. I saw the Gray Mouse Chronicles in the audience. I love Olivia. She's awesome.
I love Olivia. She's been on my show more than once. She and I are friends. We chat at each other. We compare notes. And the last 2 regression hypnosis I had were because something in her testimony triggered memories in me, and I had to find out. So, yes. Hi. She's an incredible lady, and I have the utmost respect for her. And when I mention Project Oblivion, she is who brought it forward. I am not trying to steal her thunder.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how I see too. Yeah, that's a good point. She came up with it, right? She was the originator of Project Oblivion.
It came up during a regression hypnosis, or at least that's what I've heard.
But it's so right though, right? It's like it's happening to all of us. We're all being targeted in different ways. Like so I don't get hit with dudes. I'm just going to be honest, but I got targeted with entities. I got targeted financially. I get targeted by my technology. I have people outside of my house doing weird shit at night. Like, you know, there's cars out there. I'll go out to smoke a joint and then they disappear. They take off. It's like weird, like almost like gang stalkers type behavior. So I've been targeted in many ways, you know, like I just don't talk about it all. I don't want to. I'm not trying to draw attention to myself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't.
I have these weird people among my following who they're waiting for me to die. I mean, seriously, they think I'm not real because I'm not dead yet. And they're just sort of hanging around waiting to see if I die.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a shocking number of people who contact me. Well, if you were real, you'd be dead by now. No, I have protection. I have interdimensional protection. I have ET protection. And both have made themselves obvious to people who have attacked me. And I've been dead in double digits. And just like on Highlander, I pop back. So that tutor I talked about, he giggled like that and says, well, you're just an immortal.
Maybe, right?
Nah.
You have a mission, I think, is what it is. You have a mission, and people want to see you complete your mission.
I have a mission, and until it's done, I'm here. So, but I only have protection as long as I speak the truth as I know it. And that's part of why I do links and supporting evidence, is because I have to tell the truth as I know it. And not all of it comes from my memory. So if it's not from my memory, I have to share where I got it. Because that's old school research, is you share where your sources are. And I did work in a biology lab where the professor did a lot of library research, and I was the person he sent to the library to write the abstract on the article, so he knew if he needed to read it or not. So that's how I can translate jargon into common English.
Wow.
Yeah, so. But yeah, one of these days I'm going to do a show where I talk in all German military jargon, and people are going to go, oh, because there are people out there that are speaking in all American military jargon that's not used in space at all. The military out there does not use the same lingo as the military here. No reason to expect it to. And yet, I've been called on the carpet because I didn't do the same thing. Well, I haven't been in military on Earth. So I'm not subjected to that. I mean, they don't need a navigator that can take a ship through hyperspace on Earth. Come on, really? So, anyway.
No, we went about 2 hours. This was really good, Penny. I mean, I'm going to try to edit a couple things out for YouTube, but so we can keep it up on YouTube. But then, it'll be on Rumble for everybody. But it'll be on both, And are you still doing Odysee, or where are you having people watch you?
I'm still on Odysee. I have a Substack. I have a Patreon. I have made all three where you can support me if you want to, but I'm not living on it, so I'm not really pushing it. I had a lot of people, well, how can I send you money? Okay. If you want to send me money, it goes to keep my show on Rumble because that's $100 a month, and it goes to keep my internet at the level where I can do a show without it cutting out, and it goes to pay for Zoom, which I use, and I use the professional version. And it goes to pay for the website I'm trying to get up. Actually, I had this really nice man volunteer to help me do a website, but I couldn't afford to do what I wanted to do. So we're doing a chopped down version. And yeah. I also have a subscription to Foreign Policy magazine, and that's $300 a year. But that is the mouthpiece of the Council on Foreign Relations. If you want to know what the American government is going to do, what they are planning to do, that's where you'll find out, because they are the people who actually run the State Department. Yeah, people ask me, well, what's going to go on? Well, this is what they say. I found it's worth the money. When I was doing Truth Beckons, you remember I had a page on Facebook, Truth Beckons, 603,000 followers whenever they deleted it. And I started reading foreign policy back then. So.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome, Penny. Yeah, this was my fourth show today. I did a lot. I'm gonna go smoke a joint, and yeah, like yeah, and
well,
yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and guys, go subscribe to Penny on Odysee. It's Substack. Join her Substack. You can join as a paid subscriber. Help her get her podcast expenses. Like Penny's a legend in our community. And I was lucky to meet her twice in person. And I really looked up to you, Penny. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to promote before we go?
Yeah. Let me pull up the picture. Yeah, there's there is this lovely conference I'm going to be at. I'm going to be there on Zoom. So, where'd it go? Well, gee. There it is. Okay. Have you got it?
Yeah, sorry. Here, I'll add it real quick. Sorry, I didn't see it.
There it is. I'm going to be at the BASIS 2025 Disclosure Conference, the 12th through the 14th of December, and it's an international conference, and Miles Johnston is putting it on, and it's at Bouverie Hall in Pusey, Wiltshire in England. And it looks to be a good conference. So
yeah, that looks like a good lineup. It's a really good lineup. I love it.
So,
one of my moderators is going to be the Anchor Haven, Julia. You'll get to meet. Well, I guess she'll be on Zoom. But, I mean, she's over in the UK. She's a good person, and
I've met Julie. She's been on my show.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and it looks like Ida's going to be there, and Amir Jahandri, and Brad Olson, and Drago, and I mean Maria Wheatley, and it's amazing. It looks like an amazing event.
If you're going to be there, Thomas. Thomas is a very interesting person. He does anomalies in NASA photos, which is very detailed, meticulous work, but he has found some incredible things. So Thomas is like Miles's IT guy. So yeah, he's worth seeing. He would be worth the price of admission by himself. So would Julie. So would Drago. For sure. So yeah, I know some of these people. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, yeah.
Julie was on Mars as part of the Royal Air Force.
Wow.
She's got an incredible story to tell.
Holy shit. Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. Like,
yeah, she's got an incredible story to tell. So.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight, and thank you so much, Penny. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. And yeah, I'm sure I'll be seeing everybody soon. Take care. Thanks, Penny.